I used to think working the night shift was easy money. Quiet lobbies, empty roads, nothing but the hum of fluorescent lights and the occasional late-night guest passing through. But I learned the hard way that silence isn't safety, it's just a cover for what's lurking when you're least expecting it. The first time it happened, I was at a small hotel, 3 floors, barely 40 rooms, usually no more than a dozen guests at night. My shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and most nights I sat behind the desk or in the little back office with my phone. Nothing ever happened until the night a man buzzed in around 11. He looked ordinary at first, mid-40s. Baseball cap, backpack slung over one shoulder. He asked for a room, swiped a card, and I handed him a key for 214. But something about him stayed with me the way his eyes lingered a few seconds too long. His blank expression, like he was watching me instead of hearing me. I shook it off, told myself I was overthinking. Except an hour later, I saw him again. Not in the room, not unpacking his bag, but sitting silently on the lobby couch, staring at a turned-off TV. No phone, no book, not even fidgeting, just staring. When I crossed the room for water, I felt his eyes burning into me, tracking my every move. By 1 a.m., I noticed something that turned my unease into panic. The system showed room 214 was vacant. His name, his payment, his check in it didn't exist. I called the room, no answer. Checked the key log, no entry. He never went upstairs. He was just here, sitting, watching. At 2, he vanished from the lobby. My chest tightened when I spotted him at the far end of the hall, half hidden in the dark, still, silent. Then he came back, sat again, like nothing had happened. On the cameras, I saw him pacing the stairwell, standing in corners where the light didn't reach, staring toward the desk. For hours, he drifted from shadow to shadow, sometimes closer, sometimes just gone. By the time I called the police, my hands were shaking so hard I could barely dial. When the officers finally showed up after 4, they discovered what I already suspected. He wasn't a guest. The card he'd given me was stolen. He'd been wandering the building for hours with no reason to be there. What scared me most wasn't what he did, but what he didn't do. The way he studied guests as they walked by. The way he stood silently outside a stranger's room door for minutes at a time. The way he kept watching me like he was waiting for something. I don't know what his plan was, but I know it wasn't good. The second story is about Meredith, who worked nights at a tiny gas station off a back road. The kind of place most people only stop at if they're lost or desperate for fuel. She thought it would be quiet, predictably, till the night a man in a green coat walked in around 1 a.m. He didn't buy anything. He didn't browse. He just stared at her, asked if she always worked this late, then casually mentioned her name. But Meredith wasn't wearing a tag. He claimed he recognized her handwriting on the board outside and pointed out the way she dotted her I's with slashes instead of circles. It was unsettling, but he left. Only he kept coming back. Some nights he bought water. Some nights he lingered by the counter, always asking questions, always watching. He knew things, what time she checked the back door, how her eyelid twitched when she was tired. He said it like observation, not threat, and that's what made it worse. Then came the night she found a Polaroid on the counter when she came back from a break. It was her, outside, refueling the washer fluid bin. Close up, too close. No note, just her handwriting circled in red ink. When she confronted him the next time, he didn't deny it. He just said he noticed things, that he was curious, that maybe people like her should appreciate being seen. Meredith dialed 911 right in front of him. He didn't fight. The police found notebooks in his car filled with dates, times, details of her schedule. Even pages of her name scribbled over and over until the paper nearly tore. He was arrested. A restraining order was granted, and Meredith transferred towns. But she still feels his presence when headlights follow her too long on the highway. When she hears her name spoken in her head with that same strange familiarity. Sometimes she still wonders how many times he watched her without her ever knowing. And then there's the third story, the one that makes my blood run cold, because it wasn't about someone inside the building. It was about cars waiting outside. A young woman working nights at a 24-hour station noticed nothing at first. It was her friends who pointed it out. A brand new car parked far from the pumps, engine running, no plates, lights off. When confronted, the man inside claimed he was waiting for DoorDash, but no orders had come in for hours. Stranger still, when he left, another unmarked car pulled in immediately, lights off, following him out. That was the first night. The second night, it came back. This time, there were two men inside, arguing, pointing at the store. Other customers noticed before she did. The cars didn't buy gas. They didn't approach. They just sat in a blind spot where she couldn't see from behind the counter, as if waiting for her to be alone. When confronted again, they drove off. But the details were wrong in all. The right ways the cars were too new to clean, deliberately without plates. The blankets in the back seat looked less like bedding and more like cover. Her friends stayed with her until the cars left, but she realized something terrifying. These men weren't just loitering. They weren't just lost. They were preparing, watching, waiting for the right moment when she would be completely alone. And the scariest part, she never saw them leave on her cameras. Not once. Only other people noticed them, which means they knew exactly where to park, exactly where to sit, so they could see her, while she couldn't see them. 3 stories, 3 different nights. One thing in common night shift silence is never really empty. There's always someone watching. Maybe it's the man who stares too long at a blank TV. Maybe it's the stranger who memorizes your handwriting. Maybe it's the unmarked car waiting with the engine running. Whatever it is, it doesn't show its plan until it's too late. And that's what makes it terrifying.